Hello everybody, this is Mesozoic coming to you once again from Artqltd.com. That's Artqltd.com. Make sure to come by and check our news feed and our forums. We put up new news and new reviews every day, so come check us out. What I have for you today is a quick review of the Playmates line for the Nickelodeon cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. On the far left here, we have Dojo Splinter, then Neutralizer, Slash, and Razar or Razar, however you want to say it. If you remember, Razar is from, the name is from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Between the cartoon and the movie, the origin of this character is very, very different, but the name has been reused. I think it's kind of cool that they added that in there for old-time fans. The new kids that watch the show may not get it, or they may have went back and watched some of the older movies because they're such a fan of the show. If you haven't, I recommend it. Those are some of my favorite movies from my childhood. Anyways, get on with the review here. We're going to start out with Dojo Splinter, so I'm going to move these other guys out of the way real quick and make room for us to be able to focus on him completely here. So, front and center here we have Dojo Splinter. He looks to be one solid color here, but he's actually got, he's black in the chest and the legs, and he's dark blue in the arms, and then of course he has the little, let's see here, he has the gray training mitts on there, or sparring mitts, whatever you call those. He has a few accessories. He has the bamboo sparring sword here. It's kind of big for 4-inch scale, so you might be able to use this for your Marvel Legends or your DCU figures if you feel the need to. Pretty flimsy plastic, but you can get that deform how you want it to. I do have a little quality control issue here. The paint is flaking off of his gauntlet. It's not something that I care too much about. I mostly collect these for nostalgia purposes, not really for, to be fancy figures. They are only $8 to $9 a piece, depending on where you get them. I think I've seen them as cheap as $6.99 at Toys R, maybe $6.49 at Toys R Us when they're on sale. So you can get these pretty cheaply if you're patient. These did just come out, so you probably won't get these that cheap right now. But anyways, alright, this dojo mask that he is wearing is fully removable, so you can see Splinter's face there. There's the dojo mask. As you can see, the back is emptied out, so it's a little easier to put on. There you go. I'll set that over here. You can see here, see Splinter's face. He looks just like the other Splinter in the line. I wouldn't assume that they would spend any money to update the mold just to sell a new figure that is supposed to wear a mask. Of course, it's up to you if you want to put the mask on him or not, but anyways. Alright, so check out his articulation here. Like I said, these are $8 to $9 figures, so the articulation isn't amazing, but it usually does the job. See, his head swivels from side to side. His arms move up and down and back and forth. His wrists swivel all the way around. His waist does a 360 if you would like it to. Now, where he's lacking in articulation, get that out of there, is the legs. You see he's got this big, thick dojo get up here. So, his legs do not actually move at all. This is all just hard plastic. His feet, on the other hand, do swivel around. And if you look here, his tail also swivels. Not that you would want to move that all that much, because if you leave it dangling here, he can't really stand up. So, I usually keep that kicked out to the side there. One great thing about his legs not being fully articulated is that he is very easy to stand up, which is a nice feature on these cheaper figures, because a lot of times with the cheaper plastic, if they have skinny legs or something like that, they fall over quite easily. But he is very easy to stand on his own and get in, you know, some okay poses with how his arms move and stuff like that. But you're not going to get anything crazy out of him with the lack of articulation there. But of course, I talk about him being easy to stand and I knock him over. Anyways, that is it for Splinter. We're going to move on to Neutralizer here. He's an ally of the Turtles in the new cartoon. As far as I know, I've only seen him in one episode, but he may be in others. I'm not completely caught up on the episodes yet. So, as you can see here, he's primarily one deep purplish brown color for his skin and body tone here, which is accurate to the cartoon, but unfortunately is a pretty ugly color in my opinion. And if you look here, he's got the big red chest that makes the figure kind of pop and stand out from some of the other figures, so that part is nice. Look, he's got the head swivel articulation like most of the figures in this line. His arms go back and forth, can go up and down. Might be hard to tell with his gear, but his waist actually does swivel. His wrists swivel. Now his legs are articulated, unlike Splinter. They go out, forward, backwards. His tail swivels. Not that you can even get much range out of it if you want him to stand, but it does swivel. You kind of have to keep this leg kicked back a little bit if you want him to stand up straight. So the fact that his legs are articulated don't make a ton of difference, because you do have to stand him pretty much one static way to get him to stand correctly. My only big gripe about this figure is that with how he's colored, you see, let me get a focus here. No, we're not. Alright, it doesn't want to cooperate with me here. Alright, finally. Okay. You can see that elbow pad there is the same color as his skin. You can see this pouch is the same color as his skin. He's got a little ankle bracelet here, that's the same color as his skin. So it's really hard to see the details on this character because his paint job is so flat and all one color. Even with his gear, he's got some cool stuff on his gear, but it's hard to see what it is because it's all one color. He's got a walkie-talkie here and a couple little accessories that are just part of the gear, and you can't really see what's going on with it. But he's pretty cool. He's got a little accessory here, throwing weapon, that's the same color as his body, so that just kind of blends in when it's held in his hand. And he also has a little tiny knife here that is also the same color as his body, and it blends in when he's holding it. But that's enough for him. I'm going to move on to my favorite of the new wave, Slash here. He is an ally of the Turtles that was mutated from Michelangelo's pet turtle. Now, unlike some of the other figures in this wave so far, he is actually a pretty colorful character. He's got a nice deep blue with some neon green. If you look at his shell, it pops very, very well. That neon yellowish green color. I like that a lot. Probably the reason that this is my favorite one of the wave. I don't really care about the character in the cartoon so much as I do just like the design of this figure. If you look back at the 80s line and the 80s cartoon, I prefer the concept of that Slash. His overall look is better to me, but I do like this figure because he's very colorful. And he's got his little pink armbands there that stand out quite nicely. Like I said, the very bright shell. His skin tone's a little dark, but at least it's a blue hue that makes everything else stand out quite nicely. Alright, we'll check him out here. His head swivels, as you can see. He's a little bit tough to turn, a little bit stiff out of the package there. This is the first time I've actually moved him around. Alright, get a little focus there. His arms go up and down, front to back. He actually has elbow articulation as well. It doesn't move a lot, but enough to make a little bit of a difference when you're posing him. Alright, he does not swivel at the waist, so you added elbow swivel, or added elbow articulation, but took away some waist swivel. Now he's a big chunky character, so I guess that's the reason why they took his waist swivel away. And actually, if you press in on his abdomen here, or I guess that's more of his chest area, but you press in right here, you can see it gives. So it looks like they saved some money and hollowed his plastic out in there. Doesn't really make a difference because you can't see it, fortunately, but it looks like they cut a corner there to save some money. That's alright. And you see his legs are articulated here. They go front to back, and they actually spin around as well, which is nice to get a good solid standing pose out of him. That's it for his articulation. But just like with the other figures in the line, you can pretty much only stand him one way. One foot's kicked back, one foot's kicked forward for him to be able to stand quite nicely. You see he's got his hammer here. It fits very tightly in his hand. This is the only accessory that he comes with. Same color as his body. And then the head of the mace. I said hammer, but it's obviously a mace. The head of the mace there is the same color as his feet and his wrappings and such. But like I said, he's my favorite of this wave, so I'm digging him. And we're going to move on to the last one in this wave, which is Razar. He's a kind of cool villain. Very hard to stand, obviously. That's my biggest gripe about him, so we'll go ahead and get that part out of the way. He is a mutated form of Dog Pound from the cartoon. I can't remember the episode very well, but I think he gets hit with ooze, and he turns into Razar or Razor, and I'm sure it was Michelangelo that named him, like he normally names everybody. You can see here, he comes with an accessory. If you bend his arm down, that accessory will fall right out. It does not fit in there very snug, and it's kind of a silly accessory to me anyway. All it is an extra hand that looks very bony, that fits right over his regular hand. So once that hand shoots out, he's still got a regular hand. So I would probably leave that accessory off anyway when I have him displayed or what have you. So I think it's pretty useless, but if you like it, that's cool, no big deal. You see a profile of his face here. You can see they didn't add any color into his teeth. It's all gray like his snout. He's that dark purplish brownish color as well. Not a lot of color variation with him. All that glossy gray and purplish brown color. Check out his articulation here. His head is meant to swivel. It actually does have a swivel, but since his hair is long, it just kind of gets in the way of that. You see there. And then you got his arms up and down, back and forth. His wrists do not swivel. His hands are very big and clunky, and I guess that's why they left that out. His waist does swivel, very, very thin waist. His legs go up and down and back and forth, and his feet do not move. And as you can see, he has a very funky standing pose. You look at his feet there, and he's up on the ball of his foot, on the back foot here. So, and the big gripe is that if you look, his toes are very flimsy. So, if you don't stand him just right with those flimsy toes, he'll easily fall over. So, you gotta get just right so he'll stand up on those toes nicely. I'll bring everybody else back in real quick for a group shot so you can see him one more time before we go. Alright, that is the new wave of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the Nickelodeon line from Playmates. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you like some of the figures and are going to go out and get them. I highly recommend Slash if you're only going to grab one. If you're going to grab more than that, then have fun with them. But that's it for this review. Once again, I'm Mesozoic signing out from Artqltd.com. That's Artqltd.com. Make sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're already watching it, so hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye.